Anytime you can come on the road in this conference and get a big win, it's always special. And you got to celebrate those. And, we talked in our locker room. They talked in their locker room about it this being a 50-50 game, and that was kind of motivation for our locker room and motivation about who we want to be and who we want to. And we want to go out and play the game. A lot of people worry about having 16 days off, coming out and starting sluggish. I wasn't concerned about that because the way we prepared, the way we go about our practice, and the eagerness we had to get out here and play the game and go between the lines. And the offense, they'd heard they were a tempo team, and they kind of finessed and just throw the ball around. Yeah, we're a tempo team, but we're also going to line down. One of the ESPN guys asked me earlier in the week, what is really our culture? And our culture starts up front. Offensive line, defensive line. It's about being able to run the football, and we ran the football for 300 yards. Every Tuesday in practice, we start out perimeter drill, those guys blocking on the perimeter, and then every Wednesday in practice, we have inside run. And I think offensive line, being able to run the football, and defensive line, being able to stop the run will help you win football games in this conference, and it certainly did today.
To run for 358 yards, it takes everybody. Is that just a sign of everybody buying into that philosophy?
You sound just like our players, Steven. It takes everybody, and I think it does. Not just the old lineup blocking up front, but the perimeter guys. You got some crack arcs going on out wide. Caden's doing a good job of reading those things, pulling it when it's there. You get Mike Wright in there, breaks loose for a touchdown. So several people get the ball in their hands and they're involved there, but I think it's also the blocking that's huge for me, and that's kind of what I highlight, is those guys blocking down the field, making the big play squirt. And I think that's the effort we've talked about all season long, is just getting that extra effort to make those plays be explosive plays, and you see that tonight.
Coach, talk about blocking. Just how much has the offensive line came along since that first snap in Raleigh?
I think tremendous. It's starting to get a little groove there. Got kind of 5 guys, still got Bryce out, but you got 5 guys that are giving great effort and playing together, and sometimes that helps. When you get just kind of some continuity there. Early in the season, we're trying to rotate some guys and keep them fresh. And then once you find the right crew in there and get them together, that helps out. And, it's game 1 of a 5-game stretch here, so we got a lot of work to do. And certainly got a big one next week for homecoming.
Talked about on Monday, you got attack on all 3 levels. When you get that 4th and 1, is it even a question, like, hey, we're sending Ryan? No,
as soon as they gave me the option of whether we're going to attack it on the end of the punter, make our punter again, I knew exactly what we're going to do. And, we punted one time in the first half. I knew it was there. We kind of talked about it at halftime and flipped the call there. And they gave us a look, and to the offense's credit, we got the fake punt, and then they go make it count. And I think if you get the fake punt and you end up punting again, it does no good. But the fact you can go stick that thing in the box, it really kind of takes the other team's momentum and any juice they might have on that sideline.
Defense gets a shutout in the second half. What did you say to them in the locker room as far as what they need to change?
I think Evan Simon and their offense coordinator Tyler does a great job of just ball control, taking care of the football. He got turned the ball over all year. We get a pick. Probably should have had a couple more. I think Jordy missed one. I think Tegan missed one there in the second half. But, we had the turnover down here, and that led to 7. And then we let a couple runs out that led to 7 more. And we just need to buckle down. And I think we did that in the second half. And, Coach Aldridge, those defensive coaches are doing a great job of keeping those guys locked in. And, it's not just about one guy, one level, or any of that. It's taking a group effort over there, and just really proud of that defense.
You talk about Jordy, a guy who maybe last week or 2 weeks ago may not have had the game that he wanted, stepped up big, had a huge tackle on the outside to save a touchdown run. What did you like out of his performance?
Yeah, I think Jordy's starting to play better and play up to his expectations that he has for himself and that we have for him. And we see him getting better and better every week, and he's making this team a priority, and you saw that today.
November, you want to make it in November. Remember, you got to win the first one, obviously. Just talk about the importance of that.
It's one game at a time, one day at a time, one play at a time. It's first, certainly a way to get one under your belt and get started with it. But that is the mindset. We talked about it this week. If we weren't playing football, if we weren't coaching or whatever, what would we be doing? And it's like you have to sit and really think about that, because there's not a lot of other things you love as much as this sport and this game, and getting to be with each other in the locker room. And that at some point it's going to come to an end, so why not pour everything we have into it? And then the other thing we talked about this week is all that hard work paying off, and it certainly did today.
Coach, Ryan was a 2,500-yard rusher at John Paul. Just how much does that athleticism really show on the defensive side of the ball?
He's all 7-man football. Yeah, he has gotten better. Like every single week, you've seen him grow since last spring when he came from Towson. And, just certainly happy to have a local guy, Pitt County, Greenville guy, making plays, not only defensively but special teams, and just doing a great job of getting, meaningful snaps and getting better every single week and playing in the backfield. So it's exciting for him.
You said you guys earlier in the week said you guys needed to play your best ball right now, especially at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And doing this and here in a tough crowd, I mean, tough environment like this and on the road. How
Yeah.
does that kind of play into what you were
Yeah,
saying?
we talk about games in September and October are certainly important, but the most important games are in November. And coming on the road, you know your challenges here. It's got a beautiful stadium, beautiful place. Sometimes it may not have the same energy that you have in Dowdy, but you got to make it about us and our energy and our effort and our edge and how we play the game. And we certainly did that today. So, and the next week we got to turn around. I mean, it's a homecoming game. It's a big game, but it's a big game because of our opponent. You know, we have a countdown in there to who we play each week. We also have a countdown of these guys. So we got to make sure we're ready to take care of business. It's about us, and we'll talk about them and prepare for them. But we'll talk about how we want to play the game and how we want to play with great effort and energy and execute at a high level. Make sure we're playing our best ball next Saturday.
You guys got 6 one-loss teams in this conference heading to the final third of the season. I mean, how do you keep those guys? Obviously, got to be amped up for the opportunity of a conference championship game, but how do you keep those guys just level-headed from week to week?
Yeah, we don't really talk about what could be at the end of November. We talk about what's in front of us. I think everybody knows what could happen if you just take care of business. But again, it's one play at a time, one game at a time, one day at a time. So that's our mindset. You know, focus on the process, not necessarily the outcome. And our guys have done a great job of doing that for the past year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.